Carol Philip Tudor of the Democrat. Good morning, gentlemen. I'd like to ask about 4 questions and see how well I can spread them out among you. As it has been mentioned here today, there are members of the special branch here. Did any member of the newly launched PLP require security? Did they ask for it specifically? Dr. Timothy Harris, this morning you used a term, chasing pretty rainbows over dangerous waterfall. Pretty butterflies over dangerous waterfalls. Would you talk about some of the ways that that is being done and how you will encourage the people to discontinue doing that? Mr. Condor, you said the Kittians, at home and abroad, have expressed that they feel that their leader have failed them. The leader has failed them. You have just visited the diaspora, and is that something that played a part into what has given you the impetus to launch this new party? And as you were there, what are the ways did they say to you that this is the way in which we feel that we have been failed, and this is why we don't think that we are being represented properly? And the final question is, the other newly launched party, the National Integrity Party, came out and they did what I felt was a very abnormal thing. They went straight at the record of the opposition. Will that be an approach taken by the PLP?
Thank you very much for those questions. With respect to the special branch, we never did invite the special branch to be here. I don't think it's within our power so to do, and I don't know that it is normal. We have, neither myself nor Sam, made any requests for any special assistance for today or any other day, hitherto, from the police. And so the special branch and the commissioner will perhaps be best placed to indicate why was there a need to have representatives of the special branch at a conference, press conference, called to inform the country and members of the media with respect to our launching. Which is carried live. And so that is a matter which people will have to make a determination in terms of the involvement of the police in our democratic life, their role, their functioning. Those matters are best spoken to by the appropriate leadership in that regard. The phraseology of the butterflies and the waterfalls basically speaks to the imagery which Dr. Douglas and his administration is attempting to portray now, that all is well. And while they are making those false representations, the country is still in a deep quagmire, suffering, to use the word of the gentleman, pain and hardship. So almost every day now or every month, we could expect that suddenly some ground will break. Yeah. And I recall the other day, a person came to me and they said to me in a very serious way, he said, Dr. Harris, but every minute, all of a sudden now it's election, we're having a ground breaking. We all better be careful we ain't get a major earthquake. And I believe that that description by the individual goes in tune with this notion of the butterfly, so beautiful, and yet it is going down in an abyss. Yeah. Because while we are getting all of these fraudulent presentations, we know nothing happening for the ordinary people in the land. While people are talking about so many things happening, still small businesses are closing down. Still our busmen are finding it challenging to pay their insurance and to repairs and all of those things that are needed to be done out of the normal operations. The economy not doing so well. And the taxi drivers, they too have their problem. I mean, every sector you go, there is a problem. The hotel sector, in terms of stay over, has failed. And no amount of raising the statistics of the crew's arrival in the country changes the reality that where we are at in 2013, we are still worse off in terms of tourist expenditure than we were in 2005 and 2006. And don't just take my word. Go to the ECCB Central Bank website and you see the data. Way back in 2005 and 2006, we were boasting tourist arrivals of 140,000 and expenditure in the country of over $300 million. In 2012, you're just over the 100,000 arrival mark, and you have expenditure well below 300 million. So when people try to tell you a lot of things is happening in tourism, you ask, where is it? And how do they juxtapose that pretty butterfly with the reality that at Sugar Bay Hotel, for example, their room stock is almost 50-50, 50 student dorm, 50 for tourists. How do they juxtapose that reality with what we know to be true? Next door at the Royal Beach Resort or Jacta, 80% of the rooms by a large student dorm. How do they juxtapose this picture of prosperity when Frigate Beach Hotel, little or nothing happening there, and go ask the proprietor of Birdwalk Beach, nothing much happening there. It is a fiction they are trying to create to fool ordinary people. And when we hear something is happening, it is not for us, the ordinary people of St. Kitts and Nevis. It is some foreign investor. Suddenly we hear get millions of our money to do some development. And the gentleman there, his stroke is rotting. So you understand that reality. So I think those in terms of the NIP, the abnormal approach, I think people accept that something has to be very strange. Very, very strange that you form a party to be in opposition. And you form the party not because there is some outrage in governance, in development, which requires a political response. And your machinery and your structure and your program and your people are energized to do a better deal for the country. So that is a strangeness about which I can't comment. But in time, you will know them by their fruits. Thank you very much.
The whole idea about Dr. Douglas's tenure and his stewardship, I believe it's an open secret that I've had some difficulties with Dr. Douglas's style and the way he has operated. But I've always acted in a responsible, mature manner because I am the ultimate team player. But there was always difficulties. And those difficulties were known by the country in St. Kitts and Nevis and those in diaspora. So, but my visit there just confirmed what I knew, that there were always people in the diaspora who were concerned about what was happening. But what has raised really the awareness is Dr. Douglas's recent behavior and conduct. I mean, that has just taken the cake. We ever had a disagreement with Dr. Douglas, a fundamental disagreement. What was our disagreement? What the straw that broke the camel back was basically the land and the increase in Senator's bill. In fact, once those things came, it was almost impossible to continue. I mean, we have tried to cover the cracks and to make up and to reconcile over the years. I mean, you know, people were extremely critical of me personally that I had gone on. But I think it was my duty to my to my party and to my people to go on to make sure that we have a government that is, operating in a way that for the benefit of the people. But when it comes to a position that where the people are being, where the patrimony is being, alienated from the people are being worse off. I couldn't, as someone who knows the history of the Labour Party, what it means, and someone who is committed to the service of my people, I couldn't continue. And so, basically, that is what happened. And so we are in consonant with people all over the world. In fact, the people overseas in the diaspora, they're even more outraged, if you ask me, about that behavior. People are wondering, how is it we could tolerate that? And it's in Parliament, it's on the political platform, it is anywhere. And, the disrespect, and what it is saying to our young people, and the image, the negative image of our country. And so, like I say, the trip confirmed what I already knew. And we believe that, we have taken the correct decision, and we believe that the majority of the people of the country, both at home and abroad, are in agreement with this position.
Okay.